Welcome back to the Simple World podcast. We're back to consistent episodes. Jay Vadum here. And remember, guys, these podcasts are meant to show the younger audience that although it might take 10 years, it doesn't have to. So we're bringing guests in that show you guys how simple it could be to kind of build your own business at such a young age. Now, with that being said, Johan's here this time, so welcome him.
Yeah, finally back, you guys. Sorry about the leave. We also have a special guest today, Diego.
How's it going, everyone? I'm very excited to be here. It's actually my first podcast, so
that's cool.
I'm hyped for it.
And he's really young. How old are you, Diego?
21.
21. So there we have another youngster. What are you? How old are you?
21.
And I'm 21, so that's pretty interesting for today.
The trifecta right here.
Yeah. Fun fact, Diego and I are 2 days apart.
For your birthday?
Yeah,
very
my
close.
birthday. That's crazy.
Nice little bond. But, so tell us a little bit about what you're focusing, you're interested in right now, or what do you do?
So what I do is I'm a creative, so I offer photo and video services to people that need it. And my main focus right now has been just to network with as many people as I can and see who I can help out along that process with, offering what I'm good at and what I enjoy doing, which is the creative. Because especially nowadays and with everything going on, more people are realizing that they need to switch towards being digital. Mm-hmm. So right now is a time where people are really knowing that they need to do that.
So it's in demand. How did you start getting into that? Did you straight go for, because I see on your Instagram and the stuff you post, you're more focusing on business owners. Did you start doing photography for business owners, or it was more like just pictures for people or weddings?
So I feel like most photographers usually start off doing like portraits for other people. With my situation, it was more so just a hobby that I had, like for my own personal use. So the youngest I was that I can remember was when I was like 5 years old. I would have like field trips. Do you remember like taking field trips, like the pumpkin patch or like little things like that? So I would always ask my mom if she could get me a disposable camera from CVS cool. Pharmacy. Yeah. So we would go and get one of those, and I would take it on the field trip and just shoot random photos. Like I didn't even know what I was doing, but like I would see like a cool animal and I would just take the photo. Or like I wanted a photo with like one of my classmates and I'd like hand the camera off to someone else and like get a photo. And I always liked the idea of having like keeping those things as memories. Because now it's like I'm 21, but I can go back and see those photos from when I was, in kindergarten on that exact field trip.
Oh, okay.
And, just being able to hold on to those memories. But I always enjoyed it. And then fast forward from that moment, we ended up getting a point and shoot camera. Mm-hmm. So whenever we would take like family vacations, like once a year, we would take that. And it was like one of those like lower level ones that you can buy at like Best Buy. They're like $100 with a little rechargeable battery. And I would use that. And same thing, just wherever we went, I would just take photos of that. And I stopped shooting after we stopped doing like family vacations. And then it wasn't until high school that we started having like these class projects. Mm-hmm. So I would just use my iPhone, but I would always want to have like the best quality class project.
Oh, okay.
Like I was a bit extra when it came to that. So I was like the overachiever, like trying to make everything look good, even though it didn't have to be that good. So I'd use my iPhone and just plan out things. And that's, I guess, when I first started doing video. So we were doing a video of, I think it was for my biology class. We were just doing something basic, but I made it to where it looked pretty cool. And then from there, classmates were like, oh, like that, that's pretty cool. Like, you're pretty talented with that. And I was just using like iMovie on my phone, super basic stuff. And once again, really only shot for like school projects. And then I also started getting into bodybuilding and fitness, like my late freshman year of high school. So by my sophomore year of high school, I was working out very consistently. And at the same time, like, just like anyone, when you don't know stuff, you go to YouTube to try to figure out more about it. So I was going on YouTube, like, how to grow this muscle group and how to do this workout. And then I found a YouTube channel that I really liked. And it was this guy that would just vlog himself working out and going to the gym and what he ate. So I thought that's what I wanted to do. So I bought a camera and I would just record stuff, but I would never post it. So I guess that's where I first started really experimenting with like having my first DSLR. And then I realized like the photos looked a lot better from the last camera I had, which was the tiny point and shoot a few years ago, and way better than my iPhone too. So for just like a year, I was just shooting content of myself in the gym. And I started like a fitness page on Instagram, just posting a lot of my content on there. And then I had people saying like, "Oh, your photos are pretty cool. Like I like the way you edited them." And then I started shooting for people that used to work out at the same gym that I was at. Started shooting for them, and then I also had friends that were like, "Do you want to take photos of my car? Do you want to take photos of just some portraits for Instagram?" So we would do that. But I didn't really start considering doing it for businesses until I met Billy, which both of you guys know.
Yeah.
And just being in that environment and like, you know, hearing how he thinks and like the way his mind is wired, and just seeing that there's potential in that, really made me want to start pursuing it. So I did work with his company, and I still do work with his company. And on top of that, like he just motivated me to continue pursuing that and steering away from knowing that, because like with my family, they're always saying like, you know, that's not a real job.
Yeah.
He was like the only person that was like, no, like if you stick to this, like you can actually, you know, take it somewhere.
Okay.
So that really helped me realize that I could do something with it.
So how exactly did you meet Billy?
Yeah, it's actually a funny story. So at the time I was going to school at UC Merced for mechanical engineering.
Oh shit.
Right. Yeah. I was always good at school, but never really tried. It was more so like figuring out how to, I guess, cheat the system or just, you know, get the results without having to do all the work that everyone else is doing, which it wasn't that, you know, I didn't have the time to do it. It's just I knew, like from a young age, I just knew it wasn't important. Like I didn't see a value in it. So, but I did want to have the good results, which were the good grades. So I would just find ways to, you know, make that happen without really putting in a lot of the work. So anyways, like I had a high GPA in high school. So I ended up going to college right afterwards. And I thought I wanted to do mechanical engineering because that's what a lot of my cousins were doing. And they had like the Bay Area jobs that were paying like 6 figures as soon as you graduated for engineering. But I didn't even know what the job, like what the details were, like what it was. Like, I didn't know what I was getting into. So I was taking like heavy calculus classes and like physics and all this stuff at Merced. And I was doing just fine through it, but I just didn't really enjoy it. I remember like being in the library before a class started and I was just editing photos instead of doing my homework.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So that happened and I was looking for a job, just a job that I could have part-time while I was still going to school. So I thought of GNC because I was into health and fitness. And there's a GNC in Atwater because I was commuting back and forth from Turlock to Merced every day for school. So there's a GNC in Atwater and I figured that I could work there just because it was in the middle of the drive. And I was into health and fitness. So I went to apply and that's where I met Daniel, which I think both of you guys know.
Yeah.
So I met Daniel, went through 2 rounds of interviews. It went well. And then Daniel ended up telling me that, you know, things weren't too well at that GNC and he didn't recommend it to me for me to start working there. And he was like, I'm actually working at a meal prep company called Go Fresh. And I'm going to leave GNC pretty soon and then just start working full time for Go Fresh.
Oh, that's cool.
I can see if I can get you an interview with the owners, Billy and Naomi. And I was like, yeah, man, like thanks for looking out for me. If we can make that happen, like I'd love the opportunity. So he ended up setting that up and had an interview with Billy and Naomi. But the job position was just portioning. So I got hired. I got hired for that. And I enjoyed it because at the time, like I didn't really like, I guess you could say know any better. Like I just felt that I needed to go to school, have a part-time job to just pay for a few of my expenses like gas and, you know, whatnot. But that's kind of where I was at. So that was the job that I ended up getting.
What kind of year was it when you applied? Was it when they had the first location in Modesto?
Yeah, so at the moment they just had one location. It was like a month and a half before they opened the Turlock store. One? Yeah.
I think I applied at the same, because I applied. So we all ended up being connected at the end of the day, but Go Fresh is a meal prep store and Billy is a very good friend that teaches us everything we know. But I think I applied around the same time, but I didn't get it. I was lying because I kept on lying. I was like, oh, I'm interested in, making a meal prep similar. So I just came into the interview and Billy was asking me a question. I just made up a story. Oh, I want to do life insurance for my future. So I didn't even get the job there.
Really?
It was a pretty much the same time.
Should have been true to yourself, man. I mean, the interview was cool. It was very it wasn't like your traditional interview where they ask you like, all these dialed in questions. It was more so just a conversation. I was just going along with it. But yeah, it was about like February or March of like 2018.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah.
I was there too.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Small world.
So in high school, your opinion about college, was it more pressure based, or did you kind of take the time out of your day to research what would you do if you go to college and you graduate?
I would say it was definitely pressure based. Because that's all I heard since I grew up.
Yeah.
Coming from a family of immigrants, like they think that the minute you go to college, like that's when you're good, like that's how you become successful. You have to go to college, get that degree. And I understand where they're coming from too. Mm-hmm. Like if I was, moving to a country where I didn't have anything, and I was also like, I didn't have the thing that made you feel successful, I would want my kids to have it too. Even if things change, and like for example in our generation, I feel like things have rapidly changed to where you don't necessarily need that degree anymore, versus maybe back then when they first came into this country, like that maybe was the only way you could be successful, or at least not entirely, but for the most part.
Yeah,
there was no internet, so it wasn't as easy to make money as it is now.
So at what point, while you were working with Billy and still going to school, did you decide, I'm gonna do this full time?
Like
photography?
Yeah. That's when he ended up hiring me to help out with the content. So that's how it first started with me shooting for a business. Mm-hmm. But it really wasn't until I started noticing the demand. So I was creating content for GoFresh and for Billy, and then he would tell me like, hey, this friend of mine really liked this, like, can we set up would you be able to shoot for him?
Okay.
And then I would keep hearing that, and then I realized like there was a demand for it, like people actually needed this. So that's when I realized I could actually do something with it. But prior to that, I had already decided to drop out of college.
Oh, okay.
And the reason why I did that was because I knew I had an interest in like, not necessarily marketing, but more so like the digital side of everything. Mm-hmm. I just didn't know exactly what it was. So I told my counselor I wanted to switch my major from engineering to marketing. And she was like, we don't have that here. You'd pretty much be wasting your time like doing your general education here. Because they were more focused on like a lot of sciences. So they didn't have that. So I decided to just fill out the form and, stop going. And my plan was to enroll in MJC as soon as it opened back up for marketing. But I just decided to work while I had that time off.
And would you say, so I kind of, was it a mind shift after you met Billy, or before you met Billy, did you kind of have an idea that you weren't going to graduate high school, or it didn't, you weren't going to graduate college? Did that mind shift happen when you met Billy?
I feel like I always had the mindset of like wanting to do something for myself.
Yeah.
I just never knew how to do it. But it was always there.
Yeah.
Like from very early things, like, fitness, like I didn't know exactly what I was doing, but I would throw up stories on my Instagram and just be like offering one-on-one coaching. Mm-hmm. And I would post a Google, what's the name of it? The Google submission forms.
Oh, okay.
Like I would just create a basic questionnaire, like, how old are you? How much do you weigh? What's your goal? How much do you eat right now? And I would just throw it up, and I didn't know what I was doing, but I would then post it on like the bio. And I remember I just posted a story that was like, check the link in my bio if you want to sign up for online coaching. And I got 40 form submissions. I was like, whoa, like, that was an eye opener for me, like just realizing like, people were actually interested. And that was then a different way for me to have made money. So it's always been that mindset of, wanting to do something for myself, but I never really knew how to do it, or never really had like the mentor or someone to learn from on how to do it. So yeah.
Damn, that's crazy.
So after all you've been through with meeting Billy and shooting by yourself and then dropping out of college, what's your opinion about going to college?
So I'm actually still in college right now. I ended up going back this year, so I took a 2-year gap. Went again this year just to give it another try, but a lot of it was pressure, like I mentioned earlier. Just parents, telling you like, we made the sacrifice to come into this country for you to waste such a great opportunity. So I'm just trying to be understanding and put myself in shoes, her situation, and in her shoes, and know where she's coming from. So I have to do my part and, try to make that happen for her. So I wanted to do that. So I signed up for summer classes, especially with everything going on right now. I figured right now would be a good time since classes are online. And I never wanted to go to school and have that take away from me potentially being able to work or make money and just be stuck in a classroom. So I signed up because classes were online, did my summer semester, which is pretty stacked, but I still got through it. So then I realized that that's something I might be able to balance. But as I'm going through this semester, I'm losing motivation, if that makes sense. So most likely going to be stopping after this semester, if not, not even completing this semester. Okay. Just because, my thoughts on it are college is good for just developing like people skills, just being able to interact with people and socialize with people. And on top of that, I feel like, especially straight out of high school, it gives people the ability to feel like they're independent, especially if you move away out of town for college. I have a lot of friends that was what made them mature. I mean, although, there's still the partying and all that stuff going on, I feel like that's what helps you grow as a person, like, being able to socialize with strangers you've never met before. So I think those are some of the benefits it carries, as well as it all depends on what your end goal in life is. Obviously, like for example, my girlfriend, she wants to be a nurse. She can't just be like, I'm going to become a nurse through YouTube education and whatnot. Like you actually have to complete, your curriculum for that, and many other professions. But for me, I realized I don't necessarily need that. I've never had someone question me like, do you have a degree in order to work with me? So that's, for me, that's what made it seem like, or made me know that I don't need it. I don't need it. Plus also hearing what other people are doing and seeing how everything's shifting, like is just proof that it's not necessary for every profession. Oh, that's cool. I feel like your experience matters a lot more. Because at the end of the day too, I talk to a lot of people that graduate, and the biggest thing the most common thing I hear is that they can't find jobs. The reason why they can't find jobs is they don't have the experience. And it's hard for a lot of people too. For example, in my situation, I came from a very low income family. So I always knew that I had to work to support myself. I couldn't necessarily rely on my parents at any time, like being raised by a single mother too. So I couldn't rely on her for anything. So I had to work from a young age and also be full-time in school. So now you're working full-time, and now you're in school full-time as well. Unless you get an internship that pays you pretty well, it's hard to get that experience. So a lot of people struggle with that. So I figured, why not get the experience now and then go into school later? Because school's always going to be there. But now I'm realizing I might not even need it. Okay. So experience has always been something very important to me, and I think it's also very important for a lot of people to consider, like getting the experience of knowing how to do things, hands-on. Because the paper only teaches you what the book teaches you, and a lot of times it's not even up to date.
Well, that's a good way to put it. And through your experience, you get to meet people. You get to meet new people that can show you different things, and
you get to network with a lot of cool people that are doing huge things. And one of the biggest eye openers was almost everyone I've met either doesn't have a college degree and they're successful, or they do have a college degree, but they're not doing anything related to that and they're successful. So I started seeing that more and more, and I was just like, oh, okay, that's just proof right there.
Well, I do feel like you need to plan it out too. Like, I mean, I would recommend, analyzing if you're going to lose money going to college, you're better off probably working. But if you don't lose money going to college, you know what you're doing, you're probably better off meeting people there. Because I feel like people don't really analyze the situation. Like, maybe if you're going to be going into mechanical engineering, maybe meet someone that's already in there that they can get you a job after, or like a nurse too, you know. But there is a big demand for nurse, so you're not gonna have trouble getting a job for that.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it all depends on what you want to do.
To finding like so I would find a mentor. I found a mentor for the meal prep, and people that might want to go to college, you can find a mentor for the same industry you want to go in. And it might seem impossible, but I was able to find Billy, and now we're all connected through Billy through one way or another, and then ended up benefiting us pretty good. Yeah. But with that being said, what does your life kind of look like right now after all the college dropouts and going back in? What do you kind of focus your time on now?
Just working. So I wouldn't necessarily even call it working, because I enjoy what I do. Like like I first mentioned, it was a hobby of mine, a passion of mine, and I'm still doing that now. The only difference is I'm getting paid for it now versus back then it was just something I would do on my free time. So my days usually look like, either shooting or editing. That's really what it's broken down into.
And do you have any cool stories of any maybe cool people you've met, or places you've been to, opportunities you've been given just by being a photographer, or basically kind of like the media director in a way, right, for marketing?
Yeah, like a lot of cool opportunities have happened. Like I've been able to connect with a lot of people that at one point like I used to look up to, and now it's like you get to work directly with them. So that's cool. It's very interesting because just having the ability to create content can connect you to a lot of people just because there's a demand. But as far as a cool story, I would say one of them that relates to kind of what I'm saying was when I was really into fitness and bodybuilding, there's this one bodybuilder that I really looked up to. And I would always follow his workouts. And then one day I just reached out to him on Instagram and just mentioned that I'd be in San Jose. That's where he was living at the moment. I'm going to be in San Jose. And I told him, like, I have a camera. I'm not really a photographer, but I just like shooting. Like, would you be down to shoot some photos? And he was like, yeah, like come through around this time. So I ended up taking some photos of him. And this was 3 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. And we still work together. He was here the day I last saw you, which was last week. And we shot a video that day. But just building those connections with people that you would have never thought you'd be able to connect with. That's something I'd say I definitely enjoy.
And how would you say the income is? Are you comfortable with the money? Do you see a potential of growth? Like you said, it looks like you're in demand a lot. So do you think this has a nice future ahead of you, or is it just...
Definitely. It definitely has a big future ahead of itself. If I could put it this way, I feel like I haven't done anything. Like, I feel like if you were to put it on a scale of like 1 to like 100, percentage wise of like what I've accomplished, I'm like at 0.1%. So
that's exciting.
That's just a lot of like what I know is ahead. And there's just so much you can do from a creative standpoint. Like there's so many industries you can get into, and I feel like it hasn't been till this year that I started realizing all that opportunity and all that potential. So that excites me a lot, knowing that. But as far as like what things look like right now, I am comfortable. I do make probably as much as I would have made, straight out of college going into a job. So it's enough to, pay the bills and have enough to like, save and just
have some fun,
decide what I want to do with it. And there's no student loans and all that stuff, which is fun, not having to worry about that stuff. But yeah, like it's good, and it just excites me to know that that's not the limit. Like there's so much more that can be done.
I feel like that's with a college degree, there's a limit as soon as you get a job, but like you're saying, you can just see the potential there is.
100%.
It's no longer just me too. Like I can then start building a team of people that can go out and create content. And it's no longer, just me doing it, and that's just allows for so much growth. Something Billy and I just finished talking about. So that's a cool project that's coming very soon, and very excited for it.
So then, as of right now, what do you have planned for your photography business? Is there anything that you've been waiting on to put out there, or anything like that?
I would say I've just been experimenting a lot lately. So I've been just getting into different industries. Like weddings was one that I got into recently. Like I'd never shot a wedding before September. And after September, I've shot probably like 5 or 6 weddings.
Damn.
Wow.
But it's been one of those things where I just saw the opportunity of, I connected with a guy, his name's Roberto, and he posted a story of him needing a second shooter. And I reached out to him right away and I was like, hey, I'm available. I'm not doing anything that Saturday evening. Like, why not go learn this new thing?
Mm-hmm.
So I just shadowed him. And ever since then, like every time he has a wedding, he lets me know. And I, you know, usually end up going with him. And it's just cool being able to, you know, be in different environments and see everything there is to offer. I think that's what opened my eyes into knowing, like, you know, you can't just shoot photos of cars. You can't just shoot photos of weddings. Like, there's so many industries like you can get into, and something I want to strive for is just being well-rounded and being able to be put in any situation and feel like I can do a good job. Yeah. Maybe not the best job as like someone that, you know, is focused on just that one thing, but I at least know that I could execute fairly well in any situation. So that's been my focus for now, just experimenting in different fields. But long term, I'm gonna say my goal is definitely to build a team and just help out like a lot of people that need the help when it comes to having content. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Have you ever thought of doing like little, well, I guess you could say programs of like teaching people how to take photos the right way and things like that?
Yeah, definitely. But like I said, I feel like I haven't done much yet. So that could also be like what people call imposter syndrome, where you feel like you haven't done much, but someone else is like, yeah, like you're killing it. Yeah. But I've always been very hard on myself, which can be a good thing, but a bad thing. But I like to see it as a good thing because it just pushes me to keep wanting to do more. But yeah, down the road, like that's something I would love to do. Like I just bought a course not too long ago. And like just seeing all the different things you can do. Like this guy I bought it from was a filmmaker that I always looked up to when I was first getting into things, and just looking at everything that course has to offer. Like, I feel like that's some things I could teach, but I want to build more credibility for myself, before that makes sense. And also work on my personal brand, because I've always been the guy shooting stuff for other people, but I've never really taken the time to create content for myself. Okay. And that's something that I've really been working on, creating a strategy so that once I start doing it, I can do it the right way and everything goes well. And then from there, just start, you know, building an audience and some credibility, and then have something that I can offer to people. But besides that, I'm always more than welcome to give out advice and tips to anyone that ever asks for it.
Do you think there's a age limit to do this, or you? Because I mean, to be honest, from my point of view, I feel like you guys are in a lot of demand, but many of the older people are not really kind of thinking it's necessary to get media marketers. So in the Central Valley, how is that working out? Is there a lot of competition or not enough demand?
I would say there's a lot of people that are beginning to shoot. Mm-hmm. I feel like almost every day I see someone new that's getting into it, whether they're doing like portrait photography, wedding photography, or whatever it may be. But yeah, I mean, it excites me because I was at that point at one time. Like we all start there, where you're just shooting stuff for your friends or offering free shoots. And also, I feel like it's never been easier to learn than it is now. Like I don't know if you guys are on TikTok, but I go on TikTok, and a lot of times it's not necessarily for entertainment. It's more so for learning things. Because I go on there and you know how the algorithm starts getting very specific to what you like, where it's kind of scary how it works. But you know, I was on there and now it's all camera stuff, techniques and all this other stuff. And for the most part, a lot of them are very basic things that I know, but there are a lot of new things that I pick up. And on top of that, there's so many people on that platform that maybe they had the passion for photography, and now there's a guy on TikTok telling them how to do a technique, and now they're trying it out and they're seeing that it works. They're also seeing, you know, that they can actually make money off of it. So I think people are much more aware of those things, where it makes it more comfortable to know that, you know, you can actually make a living out of doing photos versus a couple years back, it was like, you know, you're the starving artist. Like you can't really make money as an artist or as a photographer unless you're, you know, doing weddings all the time. So it's very different now. And on top of that, e-commerce is like booming. So there's content that's needed for that, whether it's like websites, ads are big right now. So I think there's opportunity for everyone. As far as competition, I wouldn't say there's a lot of competition. Like there is a lot of photographers, but I feel like everyone carries their own style. And there's there's a lot of people that need the service, and like I would love to be like, yeah, I'm the only photographer in town, but I know I can't serve everyone that needs the work. So it's cool seeing other people do it, just because there's such a high demand for it. But everyone carries their own style, and people are going to decide who they want to work with. And that's where, personal branding and the content that you've already shot says a lot about your work. It's your portfolio. Like my Instagram's my portfolio. People go on there, they see some of the work, even though I post like almost nothing of what I shoot. I need to get better at that, but people see the quality, and that's what makes them want to work with you. They hear how good of a job you did with someone else. That's what makes them want to work with you. So yeah, it's cool seeing other people come in and out of trying to do this, but as long as you stick to your style and just try to be different, that's what makes you stand out.
All right, where do we take it from here? Because I would take it for what tips do you have for the younger audience? But last time I did that, after you gave the tips, I didn't know what to ask.
Okay.
So you can think.
Did I already give out tips? Huh? Did I already give out tips? I feel like
Yeah, you basically already did that.
Well, I mean,
you could just say
like
if you're young and photography is not something you have to waste money on. Once you have a camera, you could pretty much start doing free work or something. But after that, I didn't know what to ask. Is what I'm saying.
Okay.
You can ask me that. What are some tips?
Yeah, but after that, because then after that, then we start heading towards the end.
Well, I mean,
right?
Yeah.
But then that's where I have a hard time transitioning from the tips
to the end,
to kind of closing it to the ending. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I can close it.
Yeah, ask me about the tips, and then because you haven't asked, and then we'll do another pause to see how we end it. It's not that hard to cut, right?
How long do we have?
That's something you hear as a creative all the time. It's not that hard to edit that, right? It's not that hard to Photoshop that, right? I'm just like, kind of is.
All right, Diego. So what tips do you have for the younger audience or someone that's trying to start their own photography business?
So I would say you should definitely just experiment with different industries and see what it is that you like. But one of the things I would recommend is to invest in learning. Mm-hmm. So whether it's buying a course from like your favorite photographer or someone that's doing it very well, or just meeting someone that knows about business and more so like mindset, and just like, surrounding yourself with people that are going to help you get to where you want to go. So whether it's the course, like, make sure you watch all of that and like always be striving to learn more. Like, yeah, you'll buy a course, but then another course comes your way. You can't just say, oh, I already bought one course, I'm not going to buy this other one. Like, just always got to keep investing in your craft to get better. And when it comes to being able to start getting clients, you as a photographer sometimes have to offer something. So what I like to do, I still do this, is I'll offer a free shoot, or I'll even go about booking the shoot. And when, it's, what's that phrase? Over deliver.
Yeah.
What is it exactly?
Well, you promise, I don't know the phrase, but when you promise a certain item, you just do it better than
yeah. So people, people will go about, doing a photo shoot, and I'll never mention it's free so they're expecting to pay.
Yeah.
And then last minute I turn in the photos. It was like my very first time. I'll be like, don't worry about it. And now they're like, okay, like,
they're like, oh damn, he just gave me some free photos.
Damn,
yeah. And I know it's something that, won't take up too much of my time. Plus I'm benefiting from it too, because I usually do these free shoots when I'm completely directing everything the way I want it to look. So a lot of times people already have the vision.
That makes sense.
They're like, I want you to come in and shoot these photos. I'll charge for those. A lot of times when it's like, we should just shoot and it's very big, I'll be like, okay, well, I need you to, do this. I need you to wear this, or we'll pose like this way, or do this. And I'll structure it to where I know I can use these photos for my portfolio too, but then offer them something free. But they love that. They'll tell people like, hey, I just shot with this, cool photographer.
Yeah. I was about to say that's smart, because now they're marketing for you. You don't even have to put it out there. They're just telling your friends like, hey, you know what? This guy, he just shot my photos. They were free.
Yeah. So a lot of times you have to it's not necessarily a hit, but just offer free work.
Yeah.
obviously you can't keep shooting for free for the same person over and over again.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
that's just getting taken advantage of. But offer free work and just be very professional of how you carry yourself, because that's what people are going to talk about. You can't, you know, book a shoot and, you know, just completely blow it, and people are going to only say bad things about you. So just know that your reputation gets carried with everything that you do. So I'd say investing in your craft, being intentional and offering value to people, and also knowing about, like, you know, your reputation. Like anything that you do can you know, go against you, and it's a very small world. Everyone knows each other, so
that's a little scary, huh? But that makes it even better sometimes.
So just, you know, always do your best, and, you know, over deliver on everything. And the last thing I would say is just that don't get too caught up with the gear. I did this too, and I still do it sometimes. It's like always wanting the best camera, or the newest camera, or the best lens, the most expensive lens. You can make anything out of anything. Like, I like that. You can make something pretty cool with an iPhone. You can also make something really shitty with a $5,000 camera. So it really all depends on, you know, how dedicated you are to actually making it look good. So don't get too caught up with the gear. Like, you know, just focus on getting better with the techniques. And obviously, as you start making money, you'll be able to upgrade your equipment. And your techniques are always going to be ahead, because you always worked on getting ahead, instead of from day one wanting to buy the most expensive camera and, you know, not knowing all the ins and outs and the basics that you need to know before getting to that, you know, $1,000 whatever camera.
So it's been a 3-year journey for you. How long would you think it would take for someone that's dedicated and has the right information? Let's say maybe you talk back to yourself when you were 18 years old. How long do you think it would take you to kind of get to the point you are at now, if you had the right information and kind of the right guidance to get to the point?
So if you already knew everything that you know right now, how far do you think? How
long do you think it would take you? Yeah, at 18.
Man, it's a hard question, because it makes me wish I could go back to 18 and just like speed up through it. But like you said, it's 3 years, but a lot of it's just been learning and trying to also get into the right mindset. So I really don't feel like, I feel like this journey really started for me like once COVID hit. So I feel like I've been doing it for quite a while, but it's
been here and there.
I didn't really commit to it until like a couple months ago.
Oh, that's crazy. That's cool.
So it was one of those things where I was always just working on the skills, but now it's like I know what I need to do. And I didn't know that back then. But I would say it would probably be just a few months. Maybe like 3 months. Like if someone would have sat me down and been like, you know, I'm going to teach you this, and that, and just run me through everything. Like, I think it's possible to do it in like, you know, 3 months of just like intense, like not even intensive, but just constantly, you know, doing different things, different shoots, learning certain techniques. 3 months and you're good to go. And I feel like a lot of it's just the mindset. Not so much the techniques behind the camera, but more so like how you plan to approach people and, you know, do all that stuff.
You know what? I like how you said that you really started picking up on this when COVID hit, because I feel like a lot of people could use that as an excuse, you know, to say like, oh, you know what? Maybe I'll start it once COVID is over, because I don't know, whatever excuses they want to use. But that just goes to show that you can turn any crisis or any bad thing into a creative opportunity. You know, you can be like, you know what? I'm going to do this now, and I'm going to go hard on it.
Because to be honest, in our little group of friends, we don't know anyone that's struggling. Everyone we know has been doing better than ever. And that just comes to show, you know, the people you hang around with have a big impact in your life. But I mean, for you, what he's doing is pretty cool. So me and Johan still have a job, and we're 21. He's 21, and he actually gets to shoot out there and hang out with the people we want to hang out with, you know, that we hope to do in the future. So he said it could be 3 to 6 months and your life could change. So that's what we're trying to help you guys out with, because although many people, like Gary Vee said, you could grind for 10 years, you don't really have to. We live in an age where we have all the information available to us, and we're here to help you guys out. So we just don't want you guys to make any excuses. You heard that, 3 to 6 months, and you could be making more than graduating college.
Yeah, that's crazy. As an engineer, what was it? What was your major?
Mechanical engineering.
Mechanical engineering.
So like, starting a lot of times is like 60, 68, 70. And then, you can go up from there. Yeah. But yeah, like just to know that that's possible without it, it's pretty cool. Plus I enjoy it. Like every day I wake up and it's like going to another shoot. And it's like, people still don't, a lot of people, when I tell them what I do, it's like that's really worried. Like you can actually make money off of that. So yeah, it's definitely something cool. And yeah, 3 to 6 months and you can do it. Just got to surround yourself with the right people, get the right mentorship, and cut that learning curve. Something I wish I could have done, but there's so many more resources out there now that can help people out.
All right. Well, there you go, guys. If you guys have any questions, you can catch Diego at, what's your Instagram?
So my Instagram is diegogarciavisuals. It's his first and last name and then visuals.
And then what's your business, your website? What's it called?
Same thing, diegogarciavisuals.com.
Oh, there you go, guys.
And if you have any questions, hit him up. That's the second successful photographer we have on the podcast. And they're 21 and they're making pretty good money. I'm not jealous, but we're just here to show you guys anything is possible at a very young age. Now, with that being said, for the next episodes, we're going to have another young people that are just making a lot of money. Like, man, I was 18 thinking I was going to be making 100,000 by the time I was 19. And as you get older, you kind of see it's a longer goal. But now that I'm meeting different people, it's not that far away.
Yeah.
$100,000 is not as far as I thought it was. And we're here to help you guys. We're here to show you guys how simple it is to get to those 100K that we all have in mind. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching the podcast and stay tuned for the next episode. Thank you.
Yeah. I'll see you guys later.
Thank you guys.